We both know I shouldn't be driving this car.
It's so temporary, the feeling of the euphoric excitement, like, oh, I just got my car. I promise, it doesn't last.
I'm actually carrying $10,000 of negative equity from my very first car.
Welcome to the Polished Paradigm, where we go over all things leveling up. Most people are stuck on the idea that leveling up means now you buy all luxury, upgrade your zip code, buy designer clothes, and of course, the luxury vehicle. But is an expensive car really the best financial decision when it all comes down to it? Let's see what happens when the new car smell fades and reality sets in.
I bought my dream car and now I'm getting rid of it. Here she is. It's a Mercedes-AMG GT53. Why are you getting rid of it, Nick? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, reason number one, it's not as exciting as it once was or as I thought it was going to be. When I first got it, very exciting. Loved driving it. People would tell me how nice it was. That was cool. Never had a car that anyone ever said, that's a nice car. That felt nice. But then it faded away. That feeling of excitement faded away. And it's a good thing. I realized that no thing outside of me will ever make me happy, ever. Now, it makes you wonder, if I am not excited about the car anymore, it's been less than a year, keep in mind. Why did I really buy it? Was it because I wanted it so bad and I love the car so much? Or did I just want other people to know that I can buy it? Now, if you asked me when I bought it, am I buying it for other people? I would have said, no, absolutely not. I love the car. I feel like you can't really tell until you have the car. Reason number two, I can't afford it. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. It's a $1,200 payment plus another $400 for insurance. I don't even really notice it, to be honest, coming out of my account. Not saying that to sound like a whatever, but I do okay, make a few $100,000 a year, don't really notice the payment. However, I have no property. My plan is to get a bunch of rental property and have that pay for things like this that have a monthly payment on it. Reason number three, it's a little embarrassing. Recently, I was out with a client of mine, and he does very well, a lot better than me. And we kind of both know each other's numbers, and we got in my car, and I could tell like we were both feeling, you shouldn't be driving this car. He knows I have a business to invest in, I should be buying property. We both know I shouldn't be driving this car. The only people that are impressed with the car that you drive are people that can't buy that car.
So I used to work at this company called ADT, and a lot of the people that worked there had really nice cars because it was a sales job and they made really good commissions. So when I started working there, I was still driving a Crown Vic that my parents bought me, and I would be really embarrassed when I would go out with my friends because they all had nice cars, you know, BMWs, Acuras, Cadillacs, Infinities, and here I am pulling up in a Crown Vic. And so I told my parents that I was going to buy a new car. You know, I can afford it now. I'm making more money. And really the reason why I wanted a new car is because I was tired of having the old raggedy car. And my dad tried to tell me, he was like, you think that you want a car because all these other people got nice cars, but your car is paid off. If something's wrong with it, you can fix it. And at the end of the day, you don't want to be paying a car note and paying insurance. I didn't listen, right? I wanted to have the nice car. I wanted to have the new car, and I got what I wanted, but I had to learn my lesson. And now I know what it's like to have a new car. I was the first person to own my car. It only had like 10 miles on it when I bought it. I learned my lesson, and I will probably never do it again. I love how some of the new cars look, but I don't want to pay that price, and paying a car note is not fun. Plus, at just a personal thing for me, I stopped financing things that I don't want to pay for after I get them. So there's that.
So my whole entire life, I always bought cars that were salvage, right? And I never had a car payment ever. Except for this year, I got in a car accident. I was like, oh, let me go get a new car. So I decided to get the Lexus IS 350F Sport. And I was like, yeah, I could pay for it. Why not? Lo and motherfucking behold, the payments are $800 and something. So I just rounded up and I pay $900 a month. Not only do I pay $900 a month, but my insurance used to be $360. And so I hit up State Farm and I was like, hey man, it's a little high. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, we did a little family package and I'm only paying $240 for insurance. So yeah, if you're thinking about getting a nice car, make sure you can afford it. And trust me, you're gonna miss driving around in that 1996 Camry, because I sure as hell do.
Whoa, I practically have the same car and only pay $400 a month. Well, it's a Lexus IS, but the slowest one. The base model, I guess, because I don't need to go super fast, super quick. But I was smart and I did a month of hard research trying to find the specific car for a specific price. I got a great deal on it, and yes, I bought it at a luxury car dealership. It was an Infinity dealership, so no buy here, pay here place. It was 2 years old though. My thing is, it's still brand new in my eyes if it's only 2 years old, so why not get it for like half the cost of the brand new price? It baffles me when I see people who are making an average salary drive a brand new car off the lot. My friend did this with a Jeep and her payments were like 8 something a month, and she was only making like $25 an hour, and she got her car repoed after a year. And because her credit is so bad, she now pays more than I do for my Lexus for a damn Hyundai.
So I bought a Porsche Macan S about 6 months ago, and I can honestly say that, if I knew what I knew now, I probably wouldn't have gotten it, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, I got the S because I wanted a 6-cylinder and I want to go fast, and I still want the good gadgets and stuff like that, so it would be a good daily. However, you can't go fast. Like, it's almost a target. Like, if people see your car going fast, cops see it, they're going to give you a ticket. And I hate getting tickets. So it's like, I have to drive at the same speed as the slowest car on the road. That sucks for a daily, right? More than that, once the novelty wears off and you're just looking at it just purely from a car perspective, it pretty much has what any other new car has in terms of like the technology and everything inside the car. So you're paying for all the stuff that all the other cars have, but you're also paying for like a $1,500 oil change when you take it in. And maintenance, your car insurance is going to be higher because it's a luxury car. It's just like, damn, unless you have unlimited money, like, it's kind of a tough sell. Because at the same time, I'm thinking about all that extra money that I used on the car, which I'm like, well, it's a Porsche, like I want it, and I'm thinking like, I could have probably leveraged that way better in terms of starting or, continuing the businesses that I have. Or just investing it, period, And so it was almost something that I felt like I needed to do to figure it out. Because people were like, oh, it's just a car. But, when you're younger, you're like, nah, fuck that. Like, I want the Porsche, right? But, like, low-key, they're right, So I'm glad I figured it out. And hopefully, maybe this helps one of you in terms of buying something like that. Because you really don't need it. And it's hard to feel that way until you actually have had it. Now it's like, damn, I don't need that. I kind of would be good with like a solid truck, like a Tacoma or something, or an equivalent of that that's maybe not extremely expensive.
I bought my dream car when I was 27, and this is why I regret it. At the time, I had recently gotten a raise, and I thought I was on the path to making a lot of more money. So I went and bought a Tesla because it was one of my goals. You see, the people in my community were making a lot more money than me, and I wanted to fit in as an entrepreneur, and I thought buying a nice car was the way. This is what I know today. The money that I spend on my monthly car payments, I could be taking my family to Disneyland every month. I could be living in a much nicer neighborhood. I could be saving money so that we could actually buy and own our own property. I could have reinvested that money into myself and my learning and my education. I could have reinvested that money into my business, advertising, and scaling my business. I could have used that money to hire help to help me achieve my goals in my business. I share this story with you because if you're an entrepreneur who wants to grow, who wants to scale, and you see these people who are driving fancy cars and all these nice things, like, honestly, that's not going to help you grow as a person. That's not going to help you grow as a business. So remember to focus on what actually matters. It ain't fancy cars. There's a huge difference between perceived success and true success. Don't fall for the wrong thing.
A lot of you guys are asking why my car payment is $1,000 a month, and here's why. So I told you guys I got my first car when I was a senior. It was the car of that year. I had a backup camera, I had a push start, everything, right? 9 months later, I crashed it and I totaled it, and my parents had already almost paid it off. So then they pulled me out another car, the same one, but I had to pay it. So I started paying it. I was giving payments, and I was almost done. I had less than 10,000, right? I always kept up with the maintenance, everything. And I don't know why, but there was so many recalls on this car to the point where it almost left me on the freeway a couple times, okay? By this time, I already had my son. He was a baby at that time. And it got to the point where it wasn't even safe for us to be driving in that car, not even on the freeway, not anywhere. So my mom was like, it was time to upgrade. So I was like, all right, bet. So then I went in, and at that time, it was 2021. I got a 2021 Acura ILX, super nice, brand new, nice interior, everything, right? Never really gave me problems. And I got married. We have 3 kids now, fast forward to now. And we just didn't fit in that little car anymore. We needed a SUV, like a mom car. So I traded in this car, my car, for this car, and I'm actually carrying $10,000 of negative equity from my very first car. But I had no choice. Like, at that point, it was not safe to drive that car, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna have to swallow it and take the L.
That is wild. She is basically paying 2 car payments, but only has one of the cars. This happened to me though, not gonna lie. I owed like $3,500 on my Altima. I was tired of driving it. It was only a few years old, but with the damage on it from letting my ex drive it, combined with a gear shifter issue, the dealership only offered me $2,000 for it. Side note, but I was also paying a whopping 23% interest for the first 18 months I had the car. Then I refinanced with a different company and got down to 4%. But yeah, just because you need a new car for safety reasons doesn't mean you have to go luxury.
So let me tell you a story about a young guy who got approved for a 2024 Camaro SS. He was only 22 with great credit because his parents had put them on their car loan and they paid it off early so he'd have great credit when it was time to buy his car. So now he's sitting at a 765 credit score. So he's ready to buy. So because of his solid history, the lender never asked for proof of income. So he came in with approval in hand. But here's the thing. When I asked him what he did for a living, he said he was an up-and-coming rapper. So I knew he was about to mess his life up. I tried to suggest a less expensive car, but he insisted not to do it. Needless to say, 4 months later, the car was repoed. Moral of the story is, just because you're approved doesn't mean you can afford it. Make sure you can afford the car, even if you get approval.
What's good, y'all? I want to share a piece of advice with y'all, and it's about cars and buying a new car. So anytime there's a specific car that you want or wanted or you've been dreaming about or something like that, that feeling that you want, it's like a dopamine rush. There's a lot of happy feelings and thoughts associated with that. Now, the sick truth is that it does not last. Now, you could get the car that you've always wanted, and then you'll realize very quickly, like, man, this is actually doesn't really make me happy. I promise it will not make you happy. It's so temporary, the feeling of the euphoric excitement, like, oh, I just got my car. I promise it doesn't last. You can still be content and happy with your vehicle, but you thinking that you're gonna buy your dream car, whatever it is, it's not gonna fulfill you in the way that you think it'll fulfill you. And this is coming from a trusted source in myself, who I've experienced all kinds of vehicles, and the best advice is just buy something that you actually like and not what you think it'll make other people think or what you think it'll do for you in terms of your happiness. Just buy something that is practical for you. It could be a nice car. You could still buy a German car and it'd be practical, but it might not give you the excitement that you think it's going to get you. You could buy that, whatever, any of them BMWs or the 63 Mercedes or, a Lambos, McLarens, all these cars. It's going to fulfill you like this. You actually have to like the car. And people who own those vehicles will tell you it's the truth. Most of the people initially buy them and then they sell them off fast. I'll check these Carfaxes on these, $500,000 cars, and there's like, in a matter of 2 or 3 years, there's like 3 owners, because these people don't keep them for that long, because they're constantly looking for a new high, a new fulfillment, because the current car that they have does not last. You're lucky if it lasts you more than a couple months. For me, it won't last more than a couple of days. I genuinely think that it does not last that long. You'll be excited, and there's ways to keep the excitement. Maybe you make some modifications that keeps it new and fresh. But if you genuinely don't like that car, don't buy it. So that new car feeling, stay away from it. Cars are terrible investments. Only buy something that's truly practical for you and something that genuinely you like and enjoy for yourself, and not for what you think other people will say when you have this car.
Still want to buy that luxury car? I'll tell you what, if I wasn't paying $400 a month for 6 years, I would have definitely invested that money into the S&P 500 had I been more financially literate back then. You live and you learn. I'll be driving my Lexus till the wheels fall off. Well, that's all I have for you today, but I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye for meow.